Beyond the mountains you'll be seeing red dragons in a raging lake, but at its shores there lives a being, leaves desolation in its wake. Crystal Kaizo Plus is one of the most optimized challenge runs out there. Unlike some ROM hacks which expand the original game's Pokédex to include things as recent as the current generation, Crystal Kaizo stays true to the original Generation 2 dex, and even stays true to Generation 2's original mechanics. That means physical and special moves are determined by type, there's no abilities, and items are limited to ones that were originally introduced in the Game Boy Color. Optimization is necessary in the face of everything this game throws at you. It's not just a collection of powerful Pokemon. Despite the limitations of Gen 2's Pokédex and mechanics, Crystal Kaizo Plus finds unique ways to challenge you throughout the run, even finding a way to make a Sunkern one of the scariest opposing Pokemon I've ever faced in a Nuzlocke. But that's only part of why this game has become so optimized. This game also has one of the most robust communities when it comes to data collection. Emmy's Crystal Kaizo Plus calculator is not just a damage calculator, it is also able to collect data about the runs of everybody who has used it. And trust me, you don't want to even bother trying to Nuzlocke this game without that data. Run 30 began as usual. I grabbed Chikorita and ventured out into Johto. By using imported save data from all the runners who use it, Emmy's Calc doesn't just allow you to calculate with real-time stats from your file, it allows you to use the data from every other runner who has contributed their save file to the calculator, spitting out usage stats for every single fight. This shows you, for example, that Meganium is the most used starter in the late game by a wide margin. With the calc, we can stand on the shoulders of giants, those who came before us. It makes Crystal Kaizo Plus one of the most accessible runs out there. Accessible does not mean easy. The long-term goal for this Nuzlocke is to take it all the way through Kanto, facing against a round 2 of the Elite Four and the eventual clash with Red at Mount Silver. I would love to get there on this run, but even though this is attempt 30, my PB is right here. That dot is swimmer Kirk, about halfway between the 4th gym leader Morty and the 5th gym leader Chuck. So before I even think about a red, hell, before I even think about the Elite Four, I have 2 targets on my hit list. First, of course, is Kirk, and the Sand Slash that wiped me before to score a new PB. The second one, well, we'll get to that. Things are looking great after my first few encounters. I pick up Mareep, an incredible early game Pokemon. It's the best electric type available for the first gym, and one of the most used Pokemon on Falkner and the surrounding fights after it evolves into Flaffy. The crown jewel of my early team, though, is Poliwag. It takes a while for this guy to become a force of nature, but once it can evolve into Poliwrath in the Whitney split, it immediately becomes a top tier Pokemon. And then there's this guy. He's fine. It's always nice to have a normal type for the early game, I guess. Hey, what are you doing? Stop! No, stop! No! Total disaster. Losing Flaffy was bad enough, but Poliwrath? Because the dex in this game is so limited, Pokemon are much harder to replace. There simply are no other water fighting types or slow but bulky electric types left in the game, and because of Dupe's Claws, I'm now just locked out of these Pokemon lines entirely. But at least I caught him. I could just reset here as much of my chat is advising me to do, but honestly, I like the state of the rest of my box. I decide I'll let the game choose my fate. With 2 Pokemon down, the next couple fights are going to be way harder than normal. I figure I might as well let it rock and see if I can get through the rest of Sprout Tower. I actually feel pretty good about the rest of my encounters, which are brought to you by this video sponsor, NordVPN. Kabuto is great for both of the first gyms, with good matchups against the frequent flyers of this hack. And if you're a frequent flyer, you might enjoy the access that NordVPN provides for you to geolock content on your travels. Phanpy is always a nice encounter in Nuzlocke, even though he doesn't really start to provide value until evolving at level 25. NordVPN, on the other hand, provides immediate value with their 24/7 customer support. If you feel like they don't, there's even a 30-day money-back guarantee. Something I will definitely not need to utilize with my next encounter, Spearow, as it's one of the most used Pokemon on the 1st and 2nd gym. Quagsire, as you'd expect from a wall like this guy, is one of the best Pokemon in the mid-game. Its unique typing makes it the best electric type counter in the game, much like NordVPN provides you a way to seamlessly switch between thousands of different servers in over 50 different countries. This will allow you to access loads of content on your favorite streaming service, whose library you might normally be as unsatisfied with as I was with my Apom encounter, who killed my 2 best Pokemon. That's all for early game encounters. Thanks to NordVPN for sponsoring this video. Check out their link in the description or pinned comment for a huge discount and 4 extra months on your first 2-year plan. Time to go to Sprout Tower. It looks like the game was perfectly happy with me resetting. The Elder's lead, Elekid carries Ice Punch. That's mostly to give a super effective damage option to the Bayleaf you're almost certainly bringing to deal with it, but it also can do this. Welp. That is a nice welcome back by my favorite trainer in the game, I'm not gonna lie. This pivot train started running because I didn't put a Cherry Berry on Apom, which could have let me avoid all of this, but now my back is against the wall and I have to switch for my life. With Bayleaf out of the picture, for the rest of this fight, Sudowoodo looks like a huge problem. This run already has 2 deaths. I think I'd rather play it risky at this point. Kabutops can 2-shot it, assuming I don't get 2 low rolls. I decide to go for it, even in the face of death by crit or Sudowoodo's own high rolls. Okay, I died in no low kick rolls, so we just need to dodge crit. Or crit ourselves. Okay, so unless both of these minimum roll, this is dead. Okay. Insane. Whew. What a fight. Jesus. We are back in Kaizo, boys. My god. The most common lead for the Falkner fight is Fluffy, and, well, so now it's Fluffy's killer's job to prove his worth. I'm counting on decent Fury Swipe rolls to get through the start of this fight. A 4-hit on the second roll takes down the Murkrow. It crits a swipe on the incoming Mantine, allowing it to go down to a pair of 3-hit rolls. It has to switch out after taking a Toxic, but Aipom has more than done his job in this fight. Still a huge asshole though. A big critical hit Steel Wing from the Gligar onto my Kabuto puts me in another rough spot though. I have no choice but to hope for no crit on the next one. Now, I'm facing a random move and I have to decide who tanks it. Wooper comes in and absolutely devours a wing attack, allowing it to Bubble Beam for the KO. Togetic comes in, prepared to be annoyingly bulky and click Metronome as many times as I let it. These bulky Metronome Pokemon are a common occurrence in this game. The longer they stay alive, the more chances they have to kill you with a random move. Pikachu is my best damage here, so I'm just going to mash Spark and pray. Things get very awkward though when Togetic rolls Conversion 2 and turns itself into an electric type, basically the only thing that could get it out of a 2-hit KO from Spark. I've got to go to Wooper and hope for a good magnitude roll. Togetic keeps rolling awkward status moves, Spiderweb this time, and I'm through with minimal damage. Wooper takes a couple of hits until I'm free to pivot Pikachu for the kill, and now it's just down to the Noctowl. Thankfully, this guy doesn't have any flying type attacks, so despite the type matchup, Bayleaf is a great answer. Noctowl misses a Hypnosis, allowing me to poison and get off some damage with Tackle. By the time Bayleaf is successfully put to sleep, I've done enough chip damage and the poison takes it out. The early game of Crystal Kaizo Plus is very efficient at ending runs, so I'm glad to get this run through the first gym badge. Just imagine if I still had Fluffy and Poliwag. Don't go through battles singing, humming. Don't hold your badges up too proud. The Eldritch plant, it feels you coming. Its roots are that deep underground. On to Bugsy. I have the 6 most used Pokemon for this fight, and you bet I'm bringing all of them. This is the absolute standard Bugsy team. It's Fearo's time to shine. It has clean KOs on 4 of Bugsy's 6 Pokemon. The exception are the ones that will force me to think here, Dunsparce and Shuckle. This is where pre-poisoning comes into play. Once Dunsparce comes in, I desperately need to make sure it doesn't glare Heracross, which is my best answer to this bug. I can safely pivot through Bayleaf, which I had poisoned in a wild battle before the fight. Heracross is able to get in successfully, but a Headbutt crit puts it in a rough spot. I can't afford to lose it, so I switch to Quagsire. Dunsparce's strategy here is clear, para Flinch Hacks, and is working to perfect effect on poor Carvin until he paralyzes it back with Body Slam. This strategy depends on going first, and now that we have the paralysis to ruin Dunsparce's speed, it's only a matter of time until it goes down. This Shuckle has the exact kind of set you would expect. Sand, Wrap, and Toxic Poison will all whittle your health bar away, all while this thing shrugs off pretty much every hit you throw at it. Bayleaf is the answer here, as this Shuckle and other walls are a big reason why Synthesis is so important to keep in this moveset. By poisoning Shuckle with Poison Powder and healing with Giga Drain and Synthesis, I can win the stall war. Because Bayleaf is already regularly poisoned, Shuckle cannot badly poison it with Toxic. I even let it live for 1 extra turn, allowing it to set up another Sandstorm, which my Donphan and Kabuto can sit in for free while Bugsy's remaining bugs, Scyther and Pinsir, are chipped down. I take my biggest risk of the fight, leaving Kabuto in for what should be a 1-KO Rock Slide on the Scyther. You never get crit here. You never get crit here. Easy. Donphan walls out Pinsir, and so ends one of the simplest Bugsy fights I've ever had in this game. Despite Aipom's best efforts to slow me down, this run is blazing through the early game. The fairy looms. Your throat is tightening. Its roundness blocking what you seek. It slams and strikes you with its lightning. You're paralyzed. You cannot speak. The split between Bugsy and Whitney is about to introduce some of Crystal Kaizo Plus's most devious weapons. When I walk onto this tile, I'll be in the field of view of all 3 of these trainers, meaning once the first battle ends, the second one will immediately begin. No chance to heal, no chance to change my party order. Pretty soon there's going to be a lot of these, with 2 or 3 or even more nasty opponents facing me in a row. This split also introduces Explosion trainers, whose entire job is, you know. Whitney's gym features a bunch of challenging fights, only made worse by the fact that I have to be extremely careful with my experience surrounding it if I want to keep my best Pokemon eligible to fight Whitney herself. The level cap here is 31, and everything's sitting at level 30, entering the 4 fights that take you up to the gym leader. As such, my planning for these fights is just as much about spreading the experience around as many Pokemon as I can, as it is about winning the fights efficiently. I navigated fine for the first 2 fights, but a huge problem presents itself in the third. That 4th move on Corsola, it's one of the moves I never want to see in a Nuzlocke. Every time it's used, it has a 10% chance of boosting all the user's stats by 1 stage, turning this Corsola that would fold in a second to Bayleaf's Giga Drain into a rampaging beast, outspeeding and one-shotting most of my team. Alright, moment of truth, guys. You ready? Oh, dude. It was a 5%. I guess I should have sacked pChal. Well, it's GG. Unlucky, man. Bayleaf was supposed to handle this, but has to get out. I go to Arbok hoping it can at least get a glare off before going down, but it turns out the RNG hasn't finished having its way with me yet. I try to break through with Magnitude, but when I need Quagsire to clutch up, he rolls a Magnitude 5. Kingler, though, outspeeds. It just has to take a hit. I think this is the plan. Okay, we're still in it, I think. I'm unsure because not only am I able to heal or switch out my team members for this fight, I also can't use Quagsire if I want a chance at keeping it under the level cap for Whitney, making this effectively a 4v4. In the next fight, Bayleaf is put in a rough spot against an Azumarill, forced to risk itself against an Ice Beam crit. Or it would have been if its second Giga Drain didn't KO the Azumarill with a very nicely timed crit of its own. That also leaves Bayleaf at enough health to actually counter the next Mon, Raichu, which was supposed to be Quagsire's job. Such luck! So naturally, Body Slam paralyzes Bayleaf and fully paralyzes. Twice. The only deathless way is to pray Aipom can one-shot with Swift. You know what, Aipom? Good job. Heracross takes Stantler's double kicks with ease. I can't believe it, but I escaped the ancient power boost with just 1 death, and the most expendable Pokemon on the team at that. On to Whitney for the first time in a very long time. Immediately, things go off script. Quagsire gets in against Nidoqueen on a Thunder Punch, but then... Don't crit. Yeah, that'll happen. Okay. We are in panic mode. Aipom has to come in, as I try to keep the fight as close to the original plan as possible. The Chansey goes down pretty quickly, just at the expense of Aipom and Kingler's Cherry Berries, but Clefable is the bigger issue. Quagsire was supposed to be the pivot for this Pokemon, but instead, I have to hard switch to Magcargo. The next 2 turns show exactly why you have to play around the crit. Recover once. Take it slow. Yeah, exactly. Have to recover again because he crit. I'm not messing around and I recover to full. Flamethrower finds a crit. Eventually I have to dodge a crit, and I do, with Flamethrower taking out the Clefable. The rest of the battle has a few more scary moments, but for the most part I stall the team out. Fearow takes out the Giraffrag in 2 hits after switching in on a guaranteed Earthquake. Magcargo has to mash Recover in front of Aipom's Shadow Ball just as it did in front of Clefable, and finally, Togetic locks Miltank into Earthquake with an Encore and cleans up with Seismic Toss. Honestly, the plan was as good as it could have been, especially without Poliwrath, but losing Quagsire hurts. Its usefulness remains well beyond the Whitney split. When heading down this path, you hear the ever-ticking metronome. It strikes your feeble heart with fear. It terrifies you to the bone. Soon after, I get a preview of the madness that awaits. Bugcatcher Arnie apparently loves Caterpie and Weedle, so much that he hasn't let these babies evolve even though they're level 80. This is, by the way, at a time in the game when the level cap is just 37. Thankfully, these guys have terrible moves. Both have Absorb, Weedle has Poison Sting, and Caterpie has Tackle. Not too difficult to wall, and I make it through the bugs and the subsequent trainer without a problem. This split has delivered me some nice encounters. Nidorino becomes Nidoking almost right away. I grab an Eevee and store that in the box for later, and I find the stall god itself, Shuckle. The hits keep coming. Slowpoke becomes a wall when it evolves into Slowbro later on in the split. I need the bulk of Shuckle and Slowbro to get through the next rival fight. A well-composed team of 6 Pokemon with excellent coverage and multiple ways to put you in a terrible position. The Dragonair is no match for Beedrill, who gets to come out of the box for the first time in a while here. But the second Pokemon is where things get really awkward really quickly. As long as we hit 2 Psybeams, we're definitely okay. That looks like a lot less damage than I thought we could be doing. Okay, there's the first accuracy drop. Yeah, this is starting to go south really quick. Switch AI kicks in at a surprising time, which might be good, but I have to play well. It's time for Shuckle to show why it's so valuable. It tanks a flamethrower, gets a disable off, allowing me enough time to get the chip damage engine started. I also use a string shot, allowing me to ensure the whole rest of the team will have the jump if they switch in. I chip it down until B-Drill can get the KO and draw in the Octillery. B-Drill at this point has done its job. The Octillery is down to red health, and Slowbro can easily take it down from here. The bright powder, though, means you're never guaranteed to get through this Octillery. Dude, what the f***, man? Oh my god. Okay, well, we're in trouble, chat. Jesus. It's also my second miss this fight, yeah, and my second drop. I think I gotta go for it, right? But like, this is starting to get really, really bad. Because now the Scizor is also ultra scary. Nice, okay. I don't have a choice. I'm staring down the Scizor, and there's only one way to take it down. It's a 76% chance to kill. Decent odds. But after the last few turns I've had, I'm not assuming anything until I see the last pixel of that health bar tick away. Time to hit this range, 76%. Let's go! Somehow, after all that, there's still 2 Pokemon left on the rival's team. Donphan gets a huge body slam paralysis on the Hitmonlee, making that one simple, but I really need Fearow to dodge the crit Petal Dance on the switch-in. The entire run may hinge on this. Fearow barely holds, and somehow, I'm not just through, but I'm through while only losing Beedrill. That Octillery is a sign of things to come in this run. Otherwise forgettable Pokemon holding items that can allow the RNG to completely swing the fight. It was Bright Powder here, and it'll be Quick Claws with their 20% chance allowing the Pokemon to attack first, and Focus Bands with their 10% chance allowing a Pokemon to survive a hit, coming soon. Morty's team only has one of these items. His Stantler is holding Bright Powder, but his gym is full of Focus Bands. The first Trainer's Persian shows just how quickly a fight can go from looking over to spinning out of control when a Focus Band activates. No Focus Band? Talking about Salt? Oh, big fan of Salt. It's the most important tool in your arsenal, if you're a cook. Poison Powder guaranteed kills here through the Focus Band, so it can't proc again. Okay, so that was Focus Band proc into crit into the second para of the fight. Just wanted to point that out for those of you keeping track at home. Don't proc? I guess I also should have thought... This Persian is I don't even know. Who is this guy? He got 3 Body Slam paras, he got a crit and 2 Focus Band procs. That is unreal. Finally, I managed to get an attack to stick as Dodrio hits a tri-attack to take down the luckiest Persian there ever was. The Focus Bands play nice with me through the rest of the gym, and it's time for Morty. The most common lead here is usually Ampharos, but... fucking monkey. Okay, I'll lay off, he's doing okay. But he's not coming to this fight. The strategy here centers around the replacement for the electric type he's so brutally murdered instead. Jolteon's Thunder is my best answer for Morty's Crobat. I just need to hit one of the 2 Thunders, a 91% chance. If I can get this momentum building in the first couple of turns, I think I have a good plan to deal with Morty. Time to roll the dice. Let's fucking go. That's all I needed. Come on. Alright. This time, I have a perfect response to any Bright Powder shenanigans. Fearow is carrying Swift, which actually packs a decent punch thanks to Stab. I just have to get the Stantler below 40% to secure the knockout. Time for the Stall Machine to do its work. Meganium takes a paralysis in the course of knocking out Lantern, which could be good for me. It could deny Mischievous a chance to use Hypnosis. But instead, Gengar comes in, and that wasn't part of the plan at all. Time to improvise. My recently acquired Dodrio makes Fearow expandable, and it's more than done its job in this fight. It gets solid damage onto the Gengar before going down, and Jolteon can easily clean up with Spark. Now it's Mischievous. I see a line where I can save Noctowl, which I was absolutely prepared to sacrifice in this fight. I just have to believe in Lonswald. So this is either gonna... Yeah, it's always gonna... Yeah, I think we just Thunder. Like, Noctowl can actually deal with this. You're the fucking goat, Lonswald. You are the fucking goat. Oh, shit! Lonswald, you fucking legend! What? annihilated this kid! Holy shit! Alright, Lonswold, can you be the GOAT? Unreal. I think this is a range. What? Just one more left. Morty's Umbreon. And after Kingler gets a couple of incredible rolls against it, Umbreon falls to a pair of submissions, and Morty goes down for just the second time in 30 attempts. Now lead your Pokemon to lay their necks into the guillotine. Step up into her sights and pray. The other side you may not see. Beating Morty opens up a ton of encounters for me. The big reward here is Pineco, which becomes one of the game's most unbreakable walls upon evolving into Fortress. With all these new friends in tow, I have no problem with the next gauntlet despite the ridiculous amount of Quick Claws thrown at me. With this gauntlet down, I'm now just 6 fights away from a new PB. There's some scary Pokemon on the way to Kirk, another Quick Claw user, a Quillfish, a couple of Pinkbow holding normal types, Scoldog, Starmie, but the scariest one here is this guy. I let my guard down for just 1 second, and this Dunsparce started stacking up rollouts on my Donphan. Had I been paying attention when planning, I had an out here. Kingler 2-shots the Dunsparce with submission, but I was sure Donphan had it covered, and all of a sudden, I'm forced to sacrifice Raichu. With Lonswold the GOAT in the box, I'm not worried about electric coverage, but unnecessary deaths like that hurt. But I make it through, and it's on to my first target. Kirk is the second part of the next 2 trainer mini gauntlet, and despite the fact that both he and Charlie are swimmers, they only have 1 water type each. Their teams are actually pretty annoyingly balanced. Here comes the Quick Claws. Kirk's whole team has them, on a bunch of Pokemon who hit hard but struggle to outspeed their opponents. Quick Claw is the perfect fit for them and makes this team particularly scary if Charlie is able to soften you up. His Sneasel and Tentacruel both have excellent coverage, and Tentacruel has the Focus Band to potentially sneak in some extra hits. And of course, there's another Quick Claw on his Parasect, which isn't so scary for its damage potential, but Priority Spore is the stuff of nightmares. All it took was one look at that Parasect set for all the memories to come rushing back. It had been months since I had faced off against these two, but I still felt the pain of that loss. I'm not going to take them lightly this time. Quick Claw does proc for the Parasect on the second turn, but I click Double Edge, dealing only minor damage. So far, so good. But Tentacruel hits a crit poison onto Slowbro, putting it in the yellow already. Slowbro crits right back, and that allows Aipom to switch in for the kill. For almost killing the run all the way back in Sprout Tower, this dude's doing pretty well. Now I just need to hit through Tentacruel's Focus Band. Alright, way to go. Aipom also one-shots the Sneasel, getting me through the first half, but that was never the problem. Kirk's Sandslash was the one that ended my previous PB, and now I'm staring down once again. Kingler sees a kill on it with Crabhammer. I just need to dodge the Quick Claw proc into an Earthquake critical. Don't do it, man! Come on! Play nice. Okay. We're rolling today. We're really rolling today. That's PB, boys. This is my furthest CK Plus attempt. I have to risk Meganium to another Quick Claw crit against the Kingler, but it's unavoidable. Slowbro could have been an option to wall, but not after taking the crit from Tentacruel. I just gotta roll it. If I lose this is really bad. Oh, dude, it's so spooky! That was 2 Quick Claws this fight. It's so spooky, man! Despite misclicking Magnitude when I wanted to Rock Slide with Donphan, the Pinsir is no threat. I go to Fortress, stall it out, and Kirk goes down. Not only was that deathless despite all 4 Quick Claw Pokemon in this fight activating at least once. The Demonic Seed is practically in my sights, but there's still Chuck's gym. The trainers leading up to Chuck are no joke. The first trainer can end the entire run if Macargo doesn't hold against the Scizor, but Macargo holds. Donphan handles a terrifying Sudowoodo that could have either boosted with Ancient Power or self-destructed. I'm rolling through the gym's gauntlet until the 4th and final trainer before Chuck. I handle the Ballydrum Politoed. I handle the Destiny Bond Wobbuffet. But I knew this Granbull was going to be a problem. Partially due to the experience situation, I need to bring in Donphan here, but it's a speed tie and Granbull has a Quick Claw. Because Quick Claw procs don't show a text box in this game, we'll never know why, but Granbull moves first. And finally, the disaster case I've been avoiding for so long happens. Double Edge crits, and I lose Donphan. I scramble to get the fight back under control. I try to get Granbull to take itself out with Double Edge Recall, but it's just too beefy. I have to risk Kabutops to a Quick Claw proc, and Kabutops strikes first. I have to risk Slowbro to another Quick Claw proc after it lives a Hitmontop Rock Slide at 7 HP. Crystal Kaiser Plus has had a couple of chances to get me, but once again, it lets me off the hook. My reward is a fight against Chuck, who just throws ridiculous damage at you one Pokemon at a time. It's the kind of fight where you just assume you won't be making it out with your full team. I go into the fight perfectly willing to sacrifice Qwilfish and Exeggutor. I feel ready for most of the team, but I don't have a great plan for Primeape. I'm going to have to improvise once he comes out. Meganium hits the range on the Poliwrath to start the fight, and things stay on track through the Magmar. Shuckle comes in, not trying to chip this time, but disrupt with Disable and String Shot. If I disable the Thunderbolt, Qwilfish walls the rest of the set. Finally, Chuck knocks my plan off the rails. Electabuzz's Ice Punch freezes Shuckle, and I have to go to Qwilfish before I can lower its speed with String Shot. I have to pray the Disable lasts long enough to keep Electabuzz from destroying me with a Thunderbolt. Needs to last one more turn here. It's really important. Okay, we're good. Holy f***. Okay. Machamp can also snowball this fight with the right Quick Claw rolls. It procs on Eggy's first turn out, but Eggy doesn't flinch from the Rock Slide. The Psybeam crits and KOs, taking out the fight's biggest source of RNG. Fortress is able to weaken Ursaring just enough for the Meganium to take it out, but now, what do we do about the Primeape? There's no way to be fully safe, but I find one line that seems to carry the least risk. If I can just dodge one specific critical hit roll, Meganium should be able to get off a Giga Drain, go to Exeggutor, and let Eggy finish the job with a Psybeam. Meganium survives the critical hit, Giga Drains, and gets out. Quick Claw procs, and Eggy flinches to the first Rock Slide. Now things are terrifying. I believe the Psybeam kills, but will Eggy even get to move? I just have to hope. Don't do it. Don't do it. I'm pretty sure this always kills. Woo! Get the f*** out of my lobby! So much for those sacrifices. I just got through Chuck, deathless. Beyond the mountains you'll be seeing red dragons in a raging lake. But at its shores there lives a being, leaves desolation in its wake. Don't go through battles singing, humming. Don't hold your badges up too proud. The eldritch plant, it feels you coming. Its roots are that deep underground. The fairy looms, your throat is tightening. Its roundness blocking what you seek. It slams and strikes you with its lightning. You're paralyzed. You cannot speak. When heading down this path, you hear the ever-ticking metronome. It strikes your feeble heart with fear. It terrifies you to the bone. Now lead your Pokemon to lay their necks into the guillotine. Step up into her sights and pray. The other side you may not see. There's no more hope. There's no more light. My greatest Pokemon for thee. I've given you great sacrifice. Please spare my life, O Tiffany. The trainers leading up to Tiffany feature all the bullshit I've already encountered, but with even stronger Pokemon. Quick Claws, Boom Trainers, Ancient Power Boosters, and a level 99 Magikarp are all blocking my way to the fateful Route 43. I have to dig deep in the face of all these explosions. I have to be ready to sacrifice. Girafarig comes at the box for the first time and becomes the shield. It survives the first fight and I pre-damage in the next one to successfully bait Hidden Power Steel from a fortress that could have exploded. The Haunter I snagged as an encounter after taking out the first Boom Trainer is the perfect addition to this section. It misses a Fire Punch range against a fortress, but it just booms in front of the Ghost type, the easiest kill of my life. Despite handing me a free kill, Pokemaniac Brent makes me work for it. Meganium misses a range on a Sandslash, and as a result, I take so much damage on everything that I'm swiftly running out of safe switches through the fight. This was also one of the first trainers to feature the move Spikes, which I wasn't accounting for in my calculations at all. With the amount of defensive switching I had to make in this fight, the passive damage absolutely mattered, and I was lucky to get through without losing anybody. All of that was nothing compared to her. Because what comes next is nothing other than maybe the biggest run killer of this game. Level 99 Sunkern, level 99 Cleffa with Metronome, level 99 Igglybuff with Body Slam and Elemental Punches. One last mechanic that the hack creator can use against us in Gen 2 is levels. There may not be any bullshit abilities, there may only be very little Pokemon, but the designers of this ROM mech will throw everything Gen 2 has to offer at the player to make sure that every fight is unique. The level difference is just so brutal here. Who does not get two-shot by this? Macargo? Shuckle. That's it. This is the kind of fight that forces me to dig in the box. Shuckle is the only Pokemon I have that can somehow tank hits from the Iggly buff, and Noctowl is tasked with taking as many of the Cleffa's metronome attacks as possible until the Stantler can finish it off. I choose these two specifically not because they're the best at dealing with Iggly buff, but because if Tiffany decides to, her metronomes have the ability to take out any Pokemon I bring. Death will always loom over this fight, so bring only what you're prepared to lose. I still need something that can deal with this Sunkern though. Is there anything in here I've forgotten about? Anything here I can use and can spare? Anything I can give to Tiffany as an offering? I scrape the bottom of the barrel and find Ariados. It's one of the least used Pokemon for almost all of Crystal Kaizo Plus except this fight. As a bug poison type, it has one of the best possible typings for dealing with the Sunkern's combination of Giga Drain and Toxic. More importantly though, its Mega Horn actually does decent damage and can two-shot the Sunkern. This Sunkern is so bulky it can tank 2 super effective 120 base power moves. This is Ariados' time to shine. If it can just hit the Mega Horns. Alright, Hurtin, show that you're her! Hit this Mega Horn, baby! Unlucky. This means this has no chance of surviving the Iggly buff. It has a slim chance anyway, but... Nice, alright. Oh, Blood God Tiffany, I give you my Ariados. May you be kind to me. Okay. If I want to, I can switch now on a random elemental punch. I don't think that's the play. Blood for the Blood God. Alright. We sacrificed something to her. Maybe she'll be kind now. That's fine. God, that still hits for a lot. That's fine, I have a Lumberry. Yeah, it's 3 returns. Come on. Whoa, you're the GOAT, Arlen! Holy shit! Okay. Wait, no, that's not good. That's not good at all. Oh god, okay, Arlen, it's all you, baby! It's all you, baby! I was just about to switch. Come on! One more! We're good. We're good. Whew. Jesus. Ariados' sacrifice was not in vain. There's still one more high-level baby trainer on this route, with another metronome user in Togepi, a useless bug in Caterpie, and the real threat, a pChal with perfect coverage. Thunder, Surf, Petal Blizzard, and Submission. Shuckle's Disruption wins again here. Its job is to take one hit and get off a string shot, which it does to perfection. Nidoking comes in, is now outspeeding, and one-shots with Earthquake. I go to Noctowl to once again handle the metronomes until Stantler gets in a range to 2-hit KO. It looks like I might be in trouble when Togepi rolls Dig, but it turns out I'm perfectly prepared for this moment. Earthquake! It's dead! Holy sh**. Woo! GG, boys. Macargo eats this Caterpie alive, and I'm through. For once, I think it's safe to say I have a run going in Crystal Kaizo Plus. There's still a hell of a game to be played, but at least today, this old angry god was kind to us and did not take more than we could give. And for that, we should all be thankful.